Come on, just the tip.
Like that wall right there, yeah, it's probably older than the United States. That's at least 300 years older than America. That's not even like a major place. That's like one of like 330 of them or something. It's a temple. Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
What made you fall in love with Japan in the first place?
Oh, did we start?
Yeah, we're starting.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, dude.
Does it come through? Does it come through clearly?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Is that's your question? What made me want to go to Japan?
Absolutely.
Well, I've always been interested in just other places. I always wanted to like travel and shit. And I grew up down in South Phoenix, and my family was the only white family on the street.
I can believe that.
So, well, I mean, it's just how it happened to be. And everybody else there was from like, they were all Mexican, and I don't mean Mexican American. They were like from Chihuahua, Sinaloa, y Sonora, like that, right?
Okay.
So I grew up, the only way I could play with the other kids on my street was to speak Spanish and to understand Spanish. So I grew up with Spanish. And when I was like 9, we moved to like Sunny Slope. So, and then there was just like 0 Mexicans on that one street. But there were a bunch of people of Mexican heritage, like the street down or whatever over there. It just happened to be on that one street. There was just white people, and so I just stopped speaking Spanish because like nobody else spoke it on the street. And so I understand a lot of Spanish, and I can read it really well. I can't speak it back very well. And so when I go to college, I take a Spanish class, and I take the test to test in what class you're going to be in. And I test into the highest class because I can read it perfectly fine, and I understand like 80% of what I hear spoken to. And so, but unfortunately, that class was the one where you are only allowed to speak Spanish. You can't respond in English in this class.
Really?
Yeah. So I failed Spanish in college.
I didn't say, well, not in college, but in high school, I definitely failed Spanish. So they had to drop me so I could play sports.
Mijo, come on.
I know, dude, and coming from a Mexican family, my dad was pissed because he had to sign the sheet.
Like your mom's sitting there making some good tamales and you're just fucking failing Spanish. That's fucking
my
sad,
and
bro.
everything, just walking in like
That's
this
just not, that made me so sad just now. Oh, yeah, that's terrible.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, so I just, as soon as I failed it, I was just like, all right, fuck the Romance languages. Because I tried French in high school once too, and I couldn't remember all it's the verbs. It's the verbs that fucking kill me. I can't conjugate all those verbs. They're like, dude, do you know how many tenses there are in Spanish? It's like 16.
Is that a lot?
English has 8.
Oh.
Japanese has fucking 4. Well, there's probably 5 or 6, but they only use 4. Like 2 of them are only in like super old formal written, like Tales of Genji and shit from like 1,000 years ago or whatever. Like,
yeah, nobody
uses them anymore. And like, and then not only are there like, yeah, there's some ungodly amount of tenses in Spanish. And then you have to conjugate for every group of people in Spanish too.
Well, yeah,
so
of course.
There's
like
5.
Slang, Chicano, right? Spanglish.
No, like, you know, like yo soy, tú eres, estamos, like that.
Okay, yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
Okay.
I'm thinking like street Spanish.
No. I mean, there is that too, which is
really
even more confusing because just walking down the street and somebody just like looks at you and just goes, "Oh, man, motherfucker!" You're like, dude, really? I don't need to hear you say something that literally translates to "of the dick." Like, just fuck off with your shit, man. Anyway, and so I can't do the verbs. I just can't memorize all the verbs in the Romance languages and how they work. My brain, I can't fit that much in. And so I said, fuck the Romance languages, no Italian, no French, no Spanish, no Portuguese, none of that bullshit. And then I was like, okay, what about German? Because like, that's like my ancestry. I have some German in my blood. Like about like 3/4-ish German.
Okay.
And so I thought, oh, well, what about German? That's got to be kind of easy. That's the grammar is related to English, and then I was like, nah, fuck that. I'm gonna try something completely different. So I just signed up for a Japanese class, and I was like, this shit is so fucking easy for me to speak. Reading and writing Japanese is crazy hard, because they have functionally 4 alphabets. And one of those alphabets happens to have like 100,000 characters in it.
That's insane to even think, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
so I know like 200 of that part of that alphabet. I know there are other 3 alphabets. One of them is just our letters.
Mm-hmm.
We'll sometimes just use our letters.
Right.
And then the other 2 are hiragana and katakana. Hiragana is like, they're regular, just imagine an alphabet, but it's just like shaped really weird compared to ours. And there are hardly any single letters. Usually it's a syllable instead of one letter standing alone. And so hiragana is that, and then katakana is like a stylized version of that. Like think of our almost like our putting something in italics. It's kind of like that.
Okay.
And so they use that one for foreign words often, or for emphasis. And then there's kanji. And kanji is their original writing system because they didn't have one before they got one from China. Kanji is Chinese characters. Hiragana is a simplified version of that, which was actually developed by women. Women came up with that because when they first got a writing system, kanji was only the only people that were allowed to learn to read and write were noble men. So women weren't allowed to read and write. Peasant men were not allowed to read and write.
Okay.
So like everybody was illiterate except for noble men.
But I thought I just heard you say that the women came up with it.
So here's how it happened.
Okay.
So what happened is it's like, and they're not 100% sure if this is exactly how it happened or not, because this happened like a long time ago.
Yeah.
This is the best guess that they have, is the noble women would be in the same room with their noble husband while he's writing and saying shit out loud while he's writing. Yeah, he'd be saying something and he'd write the Chinese character for it. And the wife would be like pouring him his tea or bringing him something. And she'd surreptitiously look over his shoulder and see what did that thing look like when he said it out loud. And so they got it kind of wrong. Because like they're going off their memory of what they look like, and they go back to like, you know, their little room and try to fucking remember what it looked like and the sound it was associated with.
Holy shit.
So they made it phonetic from this sort of like half remembered. So many of them, so if you take for instance the syllable te, it's in our letters it'd be written T-E, but it's pronounced te. Like almost like T-A-Y, almost like te.
Yeah.
And if you look at it, it goes like this. It's like here and then here, okay?
So it's like an E.
No, it's just one line and then a kind of swoop coming down. Okay?
So it's like, okay.
That's te.
Almost like a C with a T.
Now, the word te by itself, that's actually a word too. It means hand. Okay? So that's where the word karate comes from. Kara means empty, te means hand. So, but the kanji for te is like this. One swoop here, 1, 2, and then a line coming down with a swoop up. So it's got a line going across and it's got a line coming down. And it vaguely, the hiragana vaguely resembles that kanji that it came from. So that's how they came up with their like written alphabet for themselves. It's like these women like, fuck this, I want to learn how to read.
I would love to hear the innuendo of that, the story of that, as to why they wanted to
learn how to read?
Learn it. Right. Like
because
like sneaky or
because they weren't allowed to. What, dude? That's like human psychology 101. If somebody tells you you can't do something, you're like, now I want to. Before I didn't give a fuck, but you just said no. So fuck that. I'm doing this shit. You know, like that. Come on, dude.
I wonder how pissed they got after a while, like the men, once that happened. Like somebody had to figure it out.
Oh, I bet there were like all kinds of. I bet there were all kinds of.
You would have been as me?
Beatings and executions and shit. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Probably. But they persevered, I guess. So I guess it's okay.
Yeah.
Turned out all right.
Yeah, I mean, it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have that good. I mean, what is it? Some of the fonts that they use. I mean, it's pretty artistic. I mean, it's wonderful.
Oh yeah, I mean, just look at this. Like that part right there, that's hiragana. But these two symbols right there, that's kanji. So like the kanji's always way more complex too. The hiragana is really like simplified.
So they can intermix the letters, or no?
Yeah, in one sentence you can have 4 alphabets. You can have kanji, hiragana, katakana, and some of our letters just thrown in.
That's wild.
And it's extraordinarily hard for a foreigner to learn to read and write.
That's like us writing cursive and then print, cursive and print, but we only have 2.
But speaking it is like, compared to learning other languages, speaking it is just stupid easy. Because the grammar is super simple. As long as you put the verb at the end of the sentence, you never have to put the verb anywhere else. It always is at the end of the sentence.
Okay.
Like unlike English, right?
Okay.
Where the verb can go like 14 different places or whatever. Who knows if they'll fucking put in verbs. As long as you get the particles, like our particles are like the and things like that, right? Like that's a particle. As long as you get the particles right and you get the verb at the end of the sentence, you're pretty much done with the grammar. That is just like vocab. And they don't conjugate for different groups of people. Like in English, I am, you are, he, she, or it is.
Sure.
In Japanese, I am, you am, he, she, or it am. It's just the same fucking word. It's just like, so the verb to be, des. Des is the same. Like, I'm a teacher. Watashi wa sensei desu. You know, you are a YouTuber. I'm not the wa YouTuber desu.
YouTuber desu?
YouTuber desu.
That's cool.
You know, like, but it's just the same word. It's just des. So you don't have to fucking think about that. The verbs are like so easy. The grammar's easy. All you have to do is memorize vocab. Like that's the only part. Like so, speaking it is so easy compared to other languages. Now, granted, I'm not like fluent. I'm not pena janakute demo. I can get around. Like I can get by, and I know how to like go banking. You know, where's the bathroom? Go shopping. I can communicate like pretty effectively in most everyday situations. But I'm not going to be like teaching math over there like I do here. You know, so.
Why so?
Well, because I can't speak the language good enough to teach math. Math is actually quite complicated.
So but you are teaching math when you get there.
No, I'm teaching English when I get there.
Okay. All right. See, that's really cool, and that's
that's pretty much the only job a foreigner can get right out the gate.
Sure.
Like that's all that you're gonna get hired for and get your visa sponsored for is that.
Dude, you're gonna be fresh off the boat, bro.
Well, I mean, I guess, yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing, man. And the whole thing behind wanting to go back there. What was the big major decision to pull you back there?
Well, I never wanted to live in the United States again either. I only moved back because of personal relationships. And no, I really I lived in South Korea for 7 years.
Okay.
So that's a weird language. Don't get me started on that one. But I lived there for 7 years, and I wanted to move from there to Japan. I'd actually gotten a job teaching at an international school. Like I would have taught math.
Yeah.
At an international school in Japan. I got that job, but then, like I said, personal relationships brought me back here, and I never wanted to come back to the States. I love it. It's so. I want you to imagine a world in which you have zero political power. Like none.
Zero?
Yeah, you have no political power whatsoever. You have no vote. Your voice does not count in the discourse of how that nation is run.
It's like my imagination is casting on the TV.
No, but seriously, imagine a life like that.
Yeah.
Okay? What don't you have to do if you have no political power?
I mean,
you don't have to pay attention to politics.
right.
And you don't have to watch the news.
There's zero politics then.
No, they have their politics, but you don't have to give a damn about them. Because there's no way for you to affect them. For 7 years, every morning I woke up and didn't think about the news or politics. And I didn't think about them all day. And I went to bed without having thought about politics or the news. For 7 years I did that straight, and it was the best thing on earth. While I am here in the United States, I have a moral obligation to use the little power of my vote as wisely as I possibly can. It's not a lot of power, it's actually a very small amount. But it is a power that I have over here. And I must use it as wisely as possible. I feel a moral obligation to do so. If I live over there, I don't have that power, so I don't have to give a shit. And I despise politics. I hate them so much. I hate them so fucking much, dude.
Like, I didn't even think that you vote. I thought you would just be like, fuck it.
No, I vote because if I don't, then I don't have, if I don't vote in the place that I have the power to do so, then I am not as much in control of my life as I possibly could.
Do you really feel like that with voting, though?
Yeah, because if you have power that you know can make your life better and make the lives of those around you better, and you don't pay attention and use it correctly, you are doing the people around you, I guess, a disservice, but you're doing yourself a huge disservice because you're literally letting everyone else decide for you. If I go there, I'm not letting anybody else decide for me because they've already decided too. Like, their culture is like pretty set, and it's what I like. So I don't feel a need to change anything. I just fucking love it, and then I don't have to pay attention to politics.
How is it like that? Is it like Republican, Democrat, or
no idea?
Okay.
That's the greatest part. I literally didn't have to care. So I actually didn't care the whole time. It was so beautiful. Like, one time, when I was in Korea, there's this Korean family who, after living there for so long, I mean, they're basically like they were my family while I was in Korea. Mm-hmm. And one time the dad of the family comes up to me and he's like, "Did you see the news?" And I'm like, "Nope." And he's like, "There was a fight in our parliament." I guess they had like a literal fist fight break out in their parliament. I guess that shit happens like all the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Huh?" And he was like, "I'm so sorry you had to witness our shame as a country." And I'm like, "Yeah, I didn't witness it. I didn't care."
I could have imagined somebody having a conversation with me like that. I'm so embarrassed that you got to witness the shame.
Oh, dude,
like,
it's so.
Alright, I slept in.
It's a very. It's really quite strange and surreal in some ways as an American to have deep conversations with people that are in Asia. I haven't really had deep conversations with people while they were in Europe, but in Asia it was somewhat surreal. Like, when I was with the host family, when I went to study abroad in Japan when I was in college.
What was her name?
The name of who?
Abroad.
Shut up. There was one night, you're such a fucking idiot. There was one night where I was, like, the dad of the household that I was staying in, that was the host family. Mm-hmm. He had his own little kind of like shed. There's like kind of this den outside of the house.
That's dope. And
we went in there, and this was in 2001 or 2. It was something like that. And we went in there with, and Google Translate, there wasn't even like a Google Translate. But he happened to have downloaded specific software that would help translate Japanese into English on the one household computer that they had.
See, bro, that's the shit I respect right there. That's awesome.
It was really cool. So, but you know what he tells me? Like, he's like, we're chatting back and forth through this translator, because my Japanese is dog shit at that point. I didn't fucking know anything when I first got there.
Yeah.
And I'd only been studying Japanese for like a semester before I went there, so I didn't know shit. So we get in there, we get in this little room, and we're doing some back and forth, you know, like, "Hey, thank you so much for letting me live. with you guys, and he's like, it's our pleasure, blah blah blah. Like, but eventually we start getting into some like deeper shit, and like at some point he goes like, he literally types in, "I apologize on behalf of my nation for the necessity that the United States felt it had to use atom bombs on us." And I'm like, dude, what the fuck, man? You don't have to apologize for that. What the fuck? I was like floored. I was like, no, we actually, and personally, I wrote my
He was doing this on the computer?
Yeah, like back and forth. Like I type out something in English and it would pop up in Japanese.
Who was he talking to? Who was he sitting? Oh, this is the software just, back and forth.
Yeah,
okay.
Between us. And I did my senior paper. The high school I went to, we had to write a junior and senior thesis papers.
Okay.
And I did my senior thesis paper on why we shouldn't have dropped the nuclear bombs, because specifically not because it was like immoral or something like that. That wasn't my thing. I wasn't like, oh, America's bad. Like that wasn't my thing. My thing was we could have gotten them to surrender a year before we dropped the bombs, but we just decided not to. And I was like, all right, well that's kind of fucked up. Yeah. So I told him like, no, you don't have to apologize for that. But he was like super tense. He's like, no, it's clearly our shame and our dishonor. And I'm like, dude. So like, yeah, there's some like really, like when they go deep, they go like really intensely deep into like weird shit you wouldn't think about. That's like, at least not from our perspective. Like the American government did fucked up shit like the Tuskegee experiments and stuff, where they, they would do like, they would like inject black people with syphilis for like just to see what happened, like on purpose.
What?
Yeah, the American government did that, but I don't feel personally guilty for that because that's the government that did that. That's not me, right? Like I didn't do that, and it happened before me and shit. But they'll be like, they'll carry that shit with them. It's fucking crazy. I'm like, dude, from an American perspective, it blows my mind. But it informs their whole culture, which is just, so maybe it's a good thing because I fucking love their cultures.
Now going back to injecting people with syphilis.
That was the thing. Did you not know about that?
Dude, no, I did not know this.
Yeah, it was pretty fucked up. So basically,
I mean, of course we got to test shit out, but
well, that's also one of the reasons why there was like an online movement where there was like a big pushback against like there were black folks saying like, I don't want to get the vaccine because I feel like I'm going to get experimented on just like we did before by these motherfuckers.
Yeah,
so
I'm with you on that, bro.
There was a big pushback. And I mean, I guess it kind of died down when they just saw like literally, a third or 2/3 of the country get it. And they were like, oh, well, fuck, if they're doing it to white folks, then oh, it's fine.
Holy shit. So you remember I told you about my vaccination, right?
Yeah.
So
I had a little thing in my phone. You know when you get a little, I hate that shit. Anyway, go ahead.
So when I got my vaccine, like the second shot,
okay,
that's when shit got weird for me. This is when I started really thinking about conspiracy theories and shit. Because the way my shit went, I got my COVID shot at the Coyote Stadium.
Okay.
So no line, I'm going through, easy. And then this lady's like, okay, stall 1.
Yeah.
Ma'am, stall 2.
Yeah.
I come up. I'm thinking I'm going to stall 3. No. Follow me, sir. I go to like stall 6. I'm like passing open stalls. Like, what the hell? What's wrong with stall 3? Maybe even 4. So I sit in stall 6. And they're like, oh, okay, how's it going? I'm like, pretty good. I'm give them the slip or whatever. I get the shot.
Yeah.
Immediately, dude, I'm walking down to sit down in that 15-minute waiting room.
Yeah.
People were super nice to everybody but me. Oh, how you feeling? Are you doing okay? Meanwhile, I'm like, paranoia, everybody's coming to get me. Like, just sitting there, feeling some weird shit.
Yeah.
I get home, and bro, I had every symptom known to mankind and hallucinations.
Like weird shortness of breath and shit.
Bro, I would shut off the lights and go to sleep, and the bitch from the ring was like,
Your foot.
I swear she was like sitting, and I turned the light off. Turn it back off. She's there. The floor was moving.
Damn, you had a rough time, dude.
Well, on the way home,
Uh-huh.
I swear, okay, you know I'm not like crazy. Well, maybe I am crazy.
You're a little bit crazy.
But not like insane crazy.
No, you're not the craziest human I've met.
Okay. Well, okay. Touche.
I will give you that qualifier, yeah.
Bro, I heard fucking, I shit you not, like stereo fucking noise.
In your ear?
Yeah, I went, what the fuck?
That's what you get, Mama.
But then when I got the COVID, that's exactly what I get.
That's what you get.
Put this guy in stall 6. He looks like a, he tells me to fucking
We're
shit
gonna
up.
fuck this guy up. No, we're just gonna give him we're just gonna take some sugar water, put it in a little PCP, and just see what the fuck happens. Just give him that shot.
I just run through the Coyote Stadium butt naked, just fucking.
Jesus, Teddy Parker, what's happening?
You all killed Jesus and you fuck dogs. Just fucking
Oh
tripping
my
out.
god, yeah.
Oh, dude.
Just be a
When I got
typical
the-
Venetian tweaker.
When I got the COVID,
Yeah.
remember? I got hot.
Dude, yeah, you were like not good. You
No.
got bad, bro.
This thing was
Yeah.
fucked. I got super hot, and I stood up to go puke.
Yeah.
And when I went to go puke, I went and after that, dude, I felt this like zip. And then I heard that like TV. Remember, I thought I bumped my TV. I messed up the sound, but everything was like.
It was all crackly and shit in your ears.
And then after that was over, I saw you the next day.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I feel better.
Yeah. Well, because I told you you're probably going to be fine. I saw you that day too.
Yeah, but
you
you
were
didn't
like,
tell me that they installed an electrical device.
I don't think they did. I mean, they might have. Who fucking knows? This is nanotechnology. I don't know. I don't think the reason I don't think they put an electronic device in you, Lala, is the same reason I think they didn't put one in me. I don't think either of us are important enough to monitor. Like, I think we're pretty just like regular people.
No, dude.
They'd probably just be like, well, that guy's never gonna have any power. Fuck that. We'll get into the next guy.
Right.
Like, look, that's the future, like, Prime Minister of Canada. We'll get him. That guy's gonna fucking sell insurance or something, and that guy's just a math teacher who gives a shit.
So they probably mixed me up with the one
Yeah.
that give to.
Yeah, they were like,
Michael
dumping
Corbin,
or-
paging Michael Corbin.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's probably what happened.
Fuck that.
But yeah, dude, COVID was pretty rough when I first. When I first got it, the first time I got it, that was that March of 2020. I got it like right when it hit Arizona, like 2 weeks after our first case in Arizona. I
So
got
you
it.
got the really bad.
Yeah, I got like the first. I was on my back for like 10 days straight, dude. Couldn't
Don't
do
act
shit.
like you've never been on your back for 10 days straight.
No, I haven't been on my back for 10 days.
Dude, that's gotta hurt.
I have to
bro.
switch it up. I gotta roll over a little bit every once in a while.
Yeah.
I can't just be the one on the bottom.
Oh yeah. You don't want to stagnate.
Yeah, switch it up.
You gotta like show like you're involved. But where were we?
But and so and then I got fucking Delta and Omicron again after I got the vaccine. And I didn't get either of those. I didn't get anything else from March of 2020, and then I get the vaccine, and I guess it was in February 2021. I got the vaccine, and
Which one did you get?
what did I get? Moderna, I think.
Pfizer.
Why are we doing live long and prosper?
Well, I mean Pfizer. It just sounds like something.
Brought to you by Pfizer. All of the
Oh,
CNN
Pfizer.
announcements about COVID. That shit was great. Did you ever see that supercut? They did a supercut of like every time CNN was like, the coronavirus is ramping up, and then it was like, brought to you by Pfizer.
Oh shit! No, I didn't see that. That's
So
hilarious.
funny. Anyway, but yeah,
This
no,
was like the weather though. This is your red zone.
Yeah.
Over here's your yellow zone.
But like Delta, I felt bad for like 2 days, and I felt like it was a bad flu. And then fucking Omicron, I felt like I had a cold for a day each time, and then that was it. Like, so I'm just completely over it. Like, people be like I went to AJ's today, and I saw a bunch of people wearing masks, and I was like, dude, why? And they're like, coronavirus is acting up again. And I'm like, so? And they're like, what do you mean so? And I'm like, dude, do you have diabetes? They're like, no. I'm like, are you over the age of 65? No. Are you like literally morbidly obese? Like, are you like 400 pounds? And they're like, no. I'm like, yeah, you're probably not gonna die.
Yeah. Take the mask off, take your pants off, have a good time.
Yeah, let your dick hang out.
Yeah,
Do whatever you're gonna do.
Whatever, break a few laws.
Why not?
Dude, there were people I knew though that were going on dates and shit back when first COVID came out.
Yeah, and they wear their mask and then take it off to take a bite and put it back.
No, I mean like they would go to houses and like hook up with each other and shit like that.
Yeah, I know.
And you know who I'm talking about.
I do.
Yeah.
My favorite thing though is whenever I see people like, look, somebody, it makes them feel safer to wear it. Go ahead. I don't give a shit. You're not me. But the thing, like, and I'm not you, so do your thing. I don't give a fuck. But the thing that gets me is when people come into a restaurant with the masks on, and then as soon as they sit down, take them off. And I'm like, I forgot that's how viruses work. Sitting deactivates all viruses in existence. Like, no, what the fuck?
You said that out loud?
No, I just think it every time. I'm like, dude. Because, like, I mean, that's their business. Like I said, like, I'll let them do them. But, like, to myself, I just think, like, do you really, like, not see how fucking dumb you are? Now you're closer than you were walking in. Mm-hmm. You're sitting at a fucking table, and you're breathing directly at each other.
And your buddies are like, taste this. And you're
like, yeah. But it's like, but it's okay as long as I'm sitting down. It's like, this is the time. It's like, the time for what? To get fucking COVID? Like, did you just wear the mask and I get it? What the fuck are you doing?
Okay, so this is obviously outrageous, but I bet my last fucking dollar.
Alright.
If COVID-19 made dudes fuck other dudes in the ass as a virus.
Like it just did something to our brains.
You would wear 3 masks, a fucking visor like this. You get COVID and people are banging each other in the ass?
I would not do that because I would just instantly move into the woods in a shack and just say, nope. Just nope. I'd fucking like, I don't know. I'd swing by a store. You're right, with like I'd swing by a store with a hazmat suit on.
Yeah.
And I'd grab all the bags of rice I could and dried meats and canned foods. And I'd fucking go out into the forest to just live. And I'd just be like, fuck this. This society's done. I'm done. I'm done with it. Fuck it.
It's over.
Come get me when, 90% of the world's population has died out.
You're just walking down the street, people are just getting fucking banged everywhere. But
just like, oh yeah.
Just one big fucking
like fucking dudes assholes. Like,
oh, God.
I'm glad for you that you like that, but I'm
but you don't like it. It's just the virus,
So wait, so you're saying that this virus is so bad?
Right.
Like this hypothetical virus.
Hypothetically, if COVID-19 wasn't like, a flu-y kind of feeling, but it made you
compulsively bang other dudes up the ass.
Right. You would be wearing a mask.
And you were aware the entire time that you didn't like it.
Yeah, you're like, I can't believe I'm doing this to you!
So it's just like a Black Mirror episode in your head, just rolling like that? Do you see that Black Mirror episode where they make the politician fuck a dead pig on camera?
No.
What the fuck? Did you not watch Black Mirror?
No.
I mean, they don't show him fucking the pig. Oh no, they made him fuck a live pig. Yeah. It was really fucked up. Dude, watch Black Mirror. Have you never seen Black Mirror? It's in the first season, that one.
I just admit that I'm not gonna watch it, but like after the doors are closed, I'm like,
you better watch that shit. It's fucking crazy. Black Mirror is a crazy. Well, the first 2 seasons were really good. Then I don't know. I just kind of fell off in my opinion, but I'm sure other people like it. So
I got everything on video. I'll just cut to something else.
All right. But yeah, like having hate in your heart is not great. It weighs you down. It does. Like, and I don't mean like some like hippy dippy like, oh my god, love will set you. Like, no, it's just a fuck ton of work.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Right.
That's just too much work. I got other shit to do. I got video games to play.
Yeah.
Like, fuck that.
Also, other people, I think, when they come out, they're like, hey, fat fuck, and this and this.
Yeah.
They've got other agendas, dude. There's other fucking things going on in their world to try to chop it down or try to.
I would agree with you on that, but here's the thing:
implement the way that they're thinking.
The other thing you have to remember in every interaction with every other human being you ever had is that literally 0 humans that are alive believe themselves to be the bad guy. Not one of them think that. Hitler didn't think he was the bad guy. He was, obviously. And so was Stalin and German Mao.
So bad.
They were not good people.
No.
But in their stories, they believed themselves to be good and pure and right.
Sure.
Every time I have an interaction with somebody that's just fucking off the rails angry, and is like doing something that attacks you, and you know, like in your heart, you're like, I don't deserve this shit. What the fuck is going on?
Right.
I stop for a second and I think like that person believes in this moment that what they're doing is correct. And because you know what shame is, right?
When
we
you
all
walk down
feel
the
shame.
alleyway naked.
But seriously, you know what that feeling is? That feeling is the feeling of knowing you are not being the good guy in your story at that moment.
Right.
That's what shame is.
It's pulling you out of your storyline.
But the thing is that no matter the shame, unless it is so great that you've actually decided to commit suicide, you will eventually talk yourself out of that shame and still consider yourself the good guy in your story. So even when somebody's fucking up and they're doing something that's wrong that they know is wrong, I know that that person still believes themselves to be the good guy in their own story.
Right.
And I try to think about it that way whenever I have those dealings with people, because a kid comes in, doesn't do their homework. I know for a fact that kid didn't go home the night before and think to themselves and look in the mirror and go, you know what? I'm just going to be a fuck up. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to suck and fuck my own life up.
Yeah.
I know they didn't think that.
No.
So
I was that kid, and I can tell you what we thought.
I mean, I didn't do homework at all for like the vast majority, because I just aced all my tests. So I just didn't do anything. And I just passed anyway. But I still get on their case, because like people do need people to get on their case. But I just don't do it in like a way like I think you're a horrible human. I do it in a way like you know what you should have done. Do it better next time.
Sure. Sure.
So, yep, that's why I'm like that. There you go.
That's a good answer.
There's my answer.
I was the kid, and I can tell you, when I didn't do my homework, all I felt was anxiety, bro.
Yeah, because you knew you fucked up, and you knew somebody was going to get on your case for it.
Well, when I'm
And
at
you don't want
home
them
and
to.
I can spend, that 3 or 4 hours at home the night before to do my homework, I literally just sat there with anxiety, bro, that I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
What's that about?
Why were you sitting there with
Yeah, like,
anxiety?
what is that situation about? Why?
There's a couple reasons. One, everyone has certain personality traits that just are inherent to them. Like there's that whole nature versus nurture stuff, and nurture does come into it, like how you're raised and stuff does change you a bit. But there are parts of you, your personality, that are like, that's set. That's just how that's going to be. And you have to learn to deal with those. And one type of personality is to be what is called highly neurotic. Neuroticism does not mean what we usually say it means in like colloquial everyday speech. We're like, somebody's like, they're so neurotic. Like that's not what that means.
Right.
Neuroticism means you have a tendency to worry more deeply than another person would. If you have high trait neuroticism.
Okay.
So you might have high trait neuroticism, and that's okay. That's not like, and that's neither good nor bad. That's like a trait that's adaptive.
So it's not like it comes to like bipolarism or fucking.
Like high neuroticism was probably like a really good thing back in like caveman times, because guess what? We needed somebody to worry all the time because there was shit that was out to kill us constantly. So there's like a good reason that we have people like that. It just so happens that in the modern age that kind of fucks you in certain ways. Okay? Just like psychopathy, like people that are actually psychopathic or sociopathic.
Sure.
We probably needed those people because they were the people that would get shit done at any cost, and they didn't give a fuck about how others felt about it, and we probably needed humans like that just to like survive.
Right.
But now it's like not good because we don't need that anymore to survive.
Well, if we took some of what they knew, like, okay, Ted Bundy, that motherfucker was nuts, crazy as shit.
Yeah, he
That's
was.
crazy.
Yeah.
But that motherfucker thought he was invisible to everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah, he did.
What a trait to have if you can hone it right, you know what I mean? And like, use it for good.
Be cool.
Like, fuck.
But he did not.
No, he did not. He went another way.
So
Darth Vader was even like, bro.
yeah, he did.
Bro.
It's like, dude, I choke bitches out.
Yeah.
I don't eat their faces.
Like, I've killed kids, but bro.
So he does a lot of that.
Yeah.
To get back to your question, why did you feel so much anxiety? So part of it is you're probably slightly more prone to that, just as a natural trait. And another part of it is there were certainly points where you would be expected to know something and you didn't know it.
Right.
And that made you feel inadequate. Because when you don't know something, like if you're talking to another human being and they expect you to know something that they believe is like a base knowledge thing, and you don't know it, there's a part of your brain that goes, holy fuck, what did I do with my life? I should know this.
Dude, there you go.
Okay?
That's
so
good.
when you were a kid, you would see something on the homework desk and you're thinking, part of you is thinking to yourself, I bet everybody else in class knows this and I'm a fucking idiot.
Right.
Because I don't know it.
Oh, that's
and
how
then
it
you
would
would
make you feel.
Then you would feel inadequate about it.
Very much so.
Okay, so the inadequacy would add to the feeling of inadequacy that's perceived. You're not actually inadequate. The feeling of inadequacy would add to your anxiety. Because you're like, holy shit, am I not good enough? And then you start thinking you're not good enough.
Right.
And that adds to your anxiety. And then you probably also knew that when you didn't do it, you were putting it off. And as time went by, your anxiety ramped up because you knew the time was getting shorter to do the thing that you felt inadequate to do.
Correct.
So that's why that was happening.
That's amazing, bro.
I mean, that's
I
why it was
literally remember
happening.
teachers saying to me, why don't you know this? You should know this already.
Because, like, and there's a reason
But this is the
doing that,
80s,
though.
what, 90s?
No. This isn't like it. That's not a, like, there's a reason that in general, humans around you should tell you those things. And teachers specifically they shouldn't do it in a mean way. I'll grant you that. They shouldn't be like, you're fucking dumb, why don't you know that? They should be like, this is a thing you should know, and then they should think to themselves, how can I incorporate that thing into a lesson so I'll pick it up? Like, that's what they should be. But they should say out loud to you that you should know this. And the reason they should say that is because, guess what? You really should.
Know that, yeah.
And it's like a thing that's going to benefit you in your life. If they don't say that to you, they're doing you a disservice. Now, if they're saying it to you in a fucked up way that makes your life harder, they're also doing you a disservice. But then again, that person, that teacher that you fucking hated that did that shit,
Is pedagogue?
sure, I don't know. That teacher was the good guy in their story too. They thought they were doing what was right.
Right.
And so, if you hate that fucking teacher, and you think about that teacher today,
Hate is such a strong word, but I
you
like
know what I'm saying though? Like if someone,
nude and spat
no,
in
but
your face.
if somebody,
Yeah.
if somebody holds hate in their heart for something like that, you're doing yourself a disservice because you're not recognizing one that other person didn't think they were doing anything wrong,
Right.
and two, you're letting them control you over a span of time that they should not be able to control you.
Right. And it was hard like that as a child because
Oh yeah, it is hard as a child.
it's all eyes on me. Like that's what you're up there with when you're talking to the teacher.
Oh my god, like you go up to the board.
Yes.
Oh, it
that was
kills
a
you.
fucked up thing to do.
No, that's a very good thing to do. And it's fucked up.
You do this?
Yes, I do. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay. Here's the reason why. There's a part of your brain that will. Now, I don't do this if I know the kid is just going to like flop down and die.
Okay.
Like I wait till I've gotten that kid to the confidence point that they can come up and do it. Okay. So then, like I don't do it if I think they don't know the answer, like well enough to explain it. If I think they're just gonna have stage fright, that's when I do it. And here's the reason why. There's a part of your brain that reacts to sensory input that causes fear.
Sure.
Okay? When that part of your brain is underdeveloped, and by underdeveloped I mean not exercised, when that part of your brain is underdeveloped, you start to become extraordinarily stressed out to things that should not stress you out.
Right.
So, for instance, you'll see some kids in college these days, and they'll say things like, I need a trigger warning for this class. This is just bad. Like, you're going to talk about something, and it's going to trigger me, and then I'm going to go into like this panic. And you're like, okay, but why? We're talking. There's no physical threat to you. You're okay. You're safe. Words, in and of themselves, only hurt you as much as you allow them to do so.
Right.
Okay? And other people might say those words with malicious intent to try to make them hurt you. But at the end, they're literally just vibrations in the air that are not at decibel levels that can liquefy your body, so they can't hurt you.
So, but I do feel like words have power, and the way that it is said.
Yes, they do, but they have the power that others let them have over them when you say them.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Like, if I said to you, you are a fish, there's no part of your brain that goes, fuck, he's right. Holy shit. Because you're not, and you know that. And that word that I just said had no power. Anyway, getting back to why I bring people up to the board. Or I'll randomly pick somebody that didn't raise their hand. Right? What that does is that does trigger a fear mechanism response in your brain. And what I'm doing is I'm not just teaching you math. I'm also giving you skills in general.
Social skills.
Well, not just social skills.
Speaking in front of people.
The skill to take fear and do what you need to do anyway.
Okay.
Because, and if you're not exposed to fear and things that cause you stressors when you're young, then as you get older, the things that will stress you out will be so minuscule that everyone else around you who was exposed to stresses will look at you like you're cuckoo.
Yeah.
They'll be like, what the fuck is your problem? Like somebody said like a bad word that you don't like, and they're like, and you're like freaking out in the corner, and they're like, why? They just talked. Like, calm the fuck down. And then, but, because like when somebody actually does, like when something genuinely bad happens to you in your life, you won't know how to deal with it because you haven't been exposed to enough stress. It's the amygdala. That's the part of your brain that if it's not exposed to stresses, actually it'll shrivel a little bit, and it won't respond correctly to things that shouldn't give stress later on in life. So yeah, I mess with people, and I do it on purpose because it's like genuinely good for them.
So I should almost be thanking the way we're putting this out there is like be thanking my teachers now, because my fear of like, you know, being on camera or talking in public or publicly speaking in front of my peers, there's no fear there. It's just, and I put it on the spot constantly, every fucking day.
Every single person that has been bullied in their lives and lived through it and gone on to just be like a regular person in the world.
Sure.
Every person that's made it through bullying is literally, and I'm not saying bullying is good, and I'm not saying they should be grateful to the people that bullied them, but their lives are objectively better because of it.
Right.
Which is really kind of fucked up. Like about the human condition.
Like,
think about it, that's actually a fucked up thing about being a person.
Right.
But it's also a true thing.
Right.
Which is, that makes it kind of more fucked up because like, I really wish that wasn't true. Like a lot. I wish that wasn't true. Because, dude, I got bullied too.
Oh, dude, I got bullied hardcore.
And
I had a flat face, acne, fucking.
I mean, I've
wore
seen you
shorts because I played tennis.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm looking at you now and I understand why that happened.
Yeah,
Like,
I look myself too and I realize why that shit happened.
I mean, when I look in the mirror, I think about it too. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, I kind of heard that one.
But you get inventive, you know? It actually taught me my skill of avoidance, you know? Or go the other way.
One thing I did.
And Daniel and his brother is going to be waiting for me on top of that hill, so my objective is not to go up that hill.
One thing I did one time is like somebody was like trying to get into a fight with me, and I just didn't want to fight. So I just like got right in their face, like really aggressive, and I was like, "Do you want to see me cry like a bitch? Is that what you want? I'll curl up in a ball right here in the fetal position. You want to see my yellow belly? I'll run like a fucking schoolgirl. What the fuck? What?" And they were like, "What the fuck is going on?" And they just didn't want to fight, but I was just like, that work? Why did that work?
Fuck with this guy, he's crazy.
Yeah, it was fucking weird. But no, like seriously, like if somebody comes up to me and is like you're a bad person, I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm not. I don't think I'm a good person. I think I'm like a neutral person. But if somebody's like, you're a bad person, I'm like, okay, you said words. Good job.
Yeah.
Like that's all right. No, there are things that I'll still get fucking stressed and pissed about, like just France in general. Like fuck that country.
Yeah.
I hate the French. That's the only people on earth that I actually like. As a group, I despise them.
I just, yeah. Like I totally agree with you. Like I hate the French, and I like the croissants. I love croissants.
Oh no, French food is fucking fantastic.
I said you love the French.
No, I love their product. They're the food drug dealers of the world. They have such good
right now if
food.
you just say I love crepes.
I love crepes. Wait. Because I even took French in high school. Like, you know, tout à fait comment, je
I took
m'appelle
French in high
Ryan,
school.
je t'aime, all that
I
shit.
had a name, that.
The only thing I remember really how to say is death is the art of falling away. I don't even know why. Yeah, it's l'amour est de l'art ou de guidance.
Because it's
That's the only thing I don't know why I remember that. I have no idea.
This is some dark deep shit.
That's a fucking weird thing to remember though, in a foreign language.
Sure.
Yeah.
I remember.
I remember some of the. Oh, I know some of the. I remember some of the swear words in French, like merde. It's just like Spanish mierda and stuff like that, like the same concept. I remember some of those, but like, yeah, that's it.
Would you, the way you've gone through your life and then, you know, living the neighborhoods you did and everything that you've accomplished,
Yeah.
going to Japan, Korea,
Yep.
would, if you did
Having
it
no
again,
debts.
would you do it differently?
No. The reason I would not do it differently, and this is going to sound cliche, but I'm going to explain it, is that if I had done it differently, I would not be who I am today. Okay?
Right.
So the reason that that's important, it's not because I think like, oh my god, my best life, I'm living it, hashtag blessed. Like, that's not what I'm fucking saying.
Right.
When I say that I wouldn't be who I am today. If I did things differently, I would not be the person that looks back on his life and wants to do things differently. And I want to be that person because if I'm not the person that looks back and sees that there are things in my life that I regret doing, then I would think that I was a good person. And the instant that I thought I was a good person, I promise you I wouldn't be. Because every single interaction I had with the world around me, everyone else is bad and at fault. Because I'd be the good person.
Dude, that's like some,
If I ever look in the mirror and think to myself, you're a good man, Ryan, I will know in that instant that I am not. I don't know if I'm a good man. I do know that if I ever think I am, I won't be. Objectively, from every single other human's point of view, I will not be a good man.
wow.
Because I will stop giving a fuck about being better than I am. Because I will have been a good man. And then that's all you need.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, and then once you accomplish a goal, you don't keep pursuing that goal. That's how goals work.
Right.
So I will never think of myself as a good man. At least I hope I don't. Because if I do, I won't be anymore.
Dude, that's an amazing thought, bro. Kind of like the Joker, to be honest. That was like some fucking Cliff Ledger Joker shit right there.
Oh, okay.
It was pretty cool.
Alright.
You know, did you think, was he the bad guy? Do you think he woke up and thought he was the bad guy? Or the
No. He thought he was the good guy. Like that character, you mean? Yeah, Joker. Okay. The people that think they're the bad guy, we know what they do. The people that believe that they are the bad guy, the people that wake up and genuinely believe themselves to not be the good guy in their story, right? Or to actually, more precisely, to be the bad guy in their story. Those people kill themselves. If you look at Nazi prison guards, right, in like fucking Auschwitz and shit, a solid fraction of, like a good fraction of them, not all by any means and not most, but a good portion of them killed themselves. And you know why they did it? Because they knew they were the bad guy. If you know yourself to be the bad guy, you will off yourself. Like just flat out. You just will. And most people who commit suicide are not people that think they're the bad guy in their story.
Sure.
Most people are doing it to escape a pain that is transitory. And they're trying to find a permanent, what's the best way I ever heard? They're trying to find a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And
that's sad.
Sometimes they do.
Shit.
Yeah, it's not a good thing when it happens.
No.
But no, like people that genuinely believe that they're the bad person, they will kill themselves. Just flat out. Yeah.
Well, thank God I never think I'm a bad person. I think I do
wrong.
No. I think I do wrong sometimes, and that's okay to think you do wrong, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously you want to try to make yourself better.
Well, that's because that's what shame is. Shame is knowing you've done wrong and not lived up to your own story.
Okay.
What I mean is when I say that they know they're the bad person, I don't mean they know they're the bad person in that moment. I mean that in their story of themselves. Because we're always telling a story about ourselves in the back of our heads.
Right, this is where I'm going to go, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I'm doing this today. But like you're doing it subconsciously too. You're not doing it like all right here, like a bunch of it's happening back in the other parts. When in that story that they tell themselves, they have become the villain, they will kill themselves.
Shit.
That's what I mean. When you fuck up and you do something wrong, the story in your head, generally speaking, is not saying, I'm the villain in my own life. It's saying, you fucked something up, you gotta fix it, don't do that again, etc. Right? When somebody's story changes from them being the protagonist to becoming the antagonist,
right, that's
when they fucking off themselves. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So going from wrong to right or from good to bad, you're literally, what, changing yourself then? Is it a complete change, or is that, is it your own?
I don't know if like, it's hard to say something like that because
somebody has to say, hey, you're bad.
Or you're good.
Or you're good.
No. Like the people that become the bad guys in their own story,
right,
it's not from other people saying that they're the bad guys.
They just openly
it's from, in their brain,
guy.
they see what they have done or not, like either their action or inaction has changed their own story to be their bad guy. Like, how many times have you been cussed out just like walking down the street or something? Like somebody telling me I'm bad, generally speaking, does not change my story in my life.
Okay.
Right? Like, no, and like for most humans, that's the case. You'd have to have some really, like, just be really susceptible to other people. Like, at an extreme, like if there's a bell curve of being influenced, you'd have to be like the most extreme end that's like the easiest influenced. To have somebody else tell you you're bad and be like, oh shit, I am. And then just live like that for the rest of your life. Like, you'd have to be, like, it'd be some weird outlier stuff. I'm talking about, like, just general humans.
So, like, if I went to a psychologist and I feel like I have problems,
yeah.
have I already admitted that now I'm the bad guy and I want help?
No.
And then the psychologist is like saying, hey,
nope.
This is this, you're doing this and this.
What you're doing at that point is you're saying, your story isn't you're the bad guy. Your story is, I am the hero that just discovered these issues and I'm going to go get them fixed.
Okay.
So like that's...
Continue on being the hero.
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. Everyone's the hero in their story. Like everyone's the protagonist.
Right.
Okay? Like when you make up your mind to go to see a psychologist if you really have or a psychiatrist or a counselor, whatever you, and you know that you've really got problems and you go there, that's when your brain that's when the story in your head has gone from, I have issues, but everybody has issues, it's fine.
Sure.
To, holy fuck, these are actual problems, and the story has just gone, you're basically the hero in like an old-timey story that just found a dragon outside their village and has to go slay it.
Yeah.
The dragon's been there the whole fucking time and everybody's kind of whispered about it the whole time.
Yeah.
But you didn't know that it was such a big deal. You thought it was just horseshit.
Right.
But then you just were like, oh fuck, that's real? Alright, I gotta go get my armor and become a knight and come back and slay the motherfucker. Like that's what happens when you make up your mind to go get help. You're making up your mind, your brain, your story has become, the threat is actually real and I must do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can dig that.
You're not going, I was a bad guy, now I'm good. You're going, holy shit, this is a thing worse than I believed it to be. I need to fix this.
And then that's crazy that Hitler never like one thought he was the bad guy. He's like, okay, you know what? Yeah, I guess, thousands of Jews, but am I the bad guy?
Millions of them? Yeah.
Not me, Look at you, you savage son of a bitch. Like, he's
like
ready.
they should. There's a really fascinating book called Hitler's Table Talk, where it just like literally just documents things he just said over dinner.
If you had a podcast going.
No, like people around the dinner table would like just write down things he said.
That'd be fucking nuts, bro.
And like a lot of the things he said were all about disgust and order. So a part of him genuinely believed that the people he was killing weren't human.
Sure, of course.
No, but not only
that. But I thought it was also about how the economy was and like how the Jewish people were in charge of everything, for financing, blah blah blah.
Right. Well, but he also didn't believe that they were actual humans. He believed that they were genuinely were pests in the house. And so disgust and fear are not the same things. I'm going to be paraphrasing from someone else I learned this from.
Okay.
When you're afraid, you either freeze up or you run away. Those are your two things.
Fight or flight. Right?
Or you lash out.
Yeah.
Right? Okay? When you feel disgust and fear aren't on the same circuit in your brain. They're different circuits. When you feel disgust, you burn and destroy that which you're disgusted with. That's what disgust is.
Fucking roach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, disgust and fear are not the same things. So, the thought is, and we can't prove this obviously because we can't ask him to thank God he's dead.
Right.
But the thought is that Hitler most likely felt not fear or anger towards people he killed, but disgust. Yeah.
Holy crap.
And so that's probably why he didn't think he was the bad guy. He probably thought I'm ridding the world of disease or something. And it's really fucked up because obviously that's not true. Because like Jewish people are also people. That's why it says Jewish people. It's not, it's not like, or any people, right? We're all people. And that was wrong for him to think that. But he didn't believe he was wrong. And I don't forgive him. I'm not like, you should forgive everybody because they're the good. No, you should just not like, you you shouldn't just dwell on those people in general all the time. That's what I'm trying to do. You don't have to forgive everybody that fucked you over. You just maybe need to like not dwell on them so much.
That's a good answer. And you know what? I want to take that in like my everyday life, honestly.
Yeah.
And just not dwell. Because I'm a fucking dweller. Like I really
I do too. It's like it's an ongoing thing.
I just sit there, and I go, is it something I could have done different?
I'll dwell on something for like 3 days. I'll dwell on something for 3 days and I won't catch myself. And then like after like a certain amount of time, not always 3 days, but like sometimes I will, and then I'll be like, wait a minute, what the fuck am I dwelling on this for? And then the best way I have found to stop dwelling on something is to stop and go, why did that occur? Because if I can figure out why that thing happened, be it talking to someone else, maybe I did something wrong, I fucked up some way.
Right.
If I can figure out why that happened, it won't bother me so much. Because there's another old saying, you can bear any what? So anything, any bad thing that happens to you, you can bear as long as you have a good enough why. If you know the reason the thing is happening, whatever that thing is has less power or terror or fear over you.
Why is what drives us every day.
Right, because like when you dwell on something, it's because a part of your brain is going, the fuck, and trying to figure it out so that those same circumstances don't play out in the future. And so if you don't sit and go, okay, why did that happen, and systematically break it down, you're never going to be able to get over that dwelling because you won't be able to figure out your why. And your brain is going to keep trying over and over again to figure it out so that it doesn't happen in the future again. That's one of the things our brains are wired for, is pattern recognition, so that we have less bad things happen to us.
Oh yeah, our brain protects us. That's what it does.
Yeah, that's what it's trying to do.
That says, hey, don't get up today.
Or it's the thing that says don't bump your head into shit.
Yeah. Right.
That's the thing that says don't touch a hot stove. It's the same fucking thing.
Right.
Yeah.
On that note, I wanna end the show.
Sure.
But what I want to say is this. Before I end the show is I really appreciate the time that you and I have spent together.
Yeah, I do too, actually. It's pretty fun.
It's been a nice time, man. And I'm gonna be sad when we leave. You've been a great influence on my life. And
I'm glad.
I'm glad that the people in Japan get to actually get a piece of the Ryan, because I think a lot of people in this world need a piece of the Ryan.
Well, thank you.
And I'm blessed that I actually had a piece of the Ryan. And thank you so much.
I'm gonna miss you a lot, brother.
Miss you so much.
Like a lot.
Very much a lot.
Come on, just the tip.